Today I signed up to go to this little community garden in the city. Y'all who know me or don't know me or who are getting to know me are gonna learn that I have sort of an urban garden type setup in my yard. Not really a backyard because I live in an apartment building. So what we ended up doing was taking our carport parking space and putting pots and building raised beds there, using pallets and plywood. I was on Eventbrite and I found this little event about composting. I've been, advised to, while I'm doing my self-care, put myself in places where I can meet new people, doing things that I like and people that have similar interests. So I don't necessarily compost per se. I mean, I compost, I guess, in the naturalist way where you let things, bury things in the dirt and let them do what they do when you're in between growing seasons. But I decided to come to this free event and do this composting class at this community garden. I'm super nervous because I'm not the most social person, but I see folks out there. I see people with hats. I see people in overalls. I don't see skin folks, but I might find me some different type of kin folks. So here goes. Wish me luck. Let's see how this turns out.
I like this one kind of better than the crank system. A lot of the crank systems are it's really tiny chamber and it's just one, but this is nice because it actually has two chambers. So one chamber can be for new food scraps that are going in for a few weeks. This one can be empty. You'll throw this stuff in once it's mixed and then keep it going with the new stuff, where you can have two different stages of compost happening at once. The benefit of the tumbler is that it makes the work of mixing and introducing airflow to the compost way easier on you. So that I can do it with one hand and I'm just spinning it on here. The crank is even easier. You're literally just moving it around. But the goal is to introduce airflow, and that's going to speed up the compost process. Typically in a compost system, you're not always adding new stuff because it's just not going to break down. They're kind of at the same stage right now. Neither of them is at the newest stage quite so much, but we do see some new stuff.
So do you manually transfer, or you just kind of
Yeah, that is the hard piece of the tumbler. You would manually transfer, or you could, I think this one actually comes up and off and then you could pour it out.
you kind of stagger, hey, this one's further along than that one, and you kind of go back and forth?
That's what I would recommend for this specifically is
Okay.
Instead of moving one chamber over to the next, because that's going to be a lot of work, you could actually
start them at different times.
Start them at different times. Although this one is nice because it does have actually a plate in between, so you can make. You can
kind of shift it over.
I don't think it's actually that easy. It's a pretty
tight
it's a
space.
6-inch circle opening window, but I think that's what it's for ultimately. So if people feel comfortable and want to touch the compost, you can see what it's generally supposed to feel like. Good, yeah. It shouldn't smell like it's rotting, and if you have a handful, feel free to smell it. Very fresh.
So this is how wet it should be?
Generally, I think this is pretty good. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that this system has paused. It's actually really cold. And compost should be pretty warm.
So then what would you do to it?
So what I would do is probably add some more greens to one of these, or actually both of them at this point. I would come in and mix it quite a bit. I might add a little bit of moisture to just get the process going. And I might move this to the sun to just get some more heat in there.
Get it going.
Kickstart it. It's just been so cold lately. The 3-bin system that we'll all work in later, that's the ideal system because you're mixing stuff around. You're generating heat from within, but these tumblers can be a little more difficult to actually get that composting to happen. Some people like the store-bought compost that's really broken down, looks like soil, but that's actually not the reality of most compost. It actually looks a lot like this. So these look pretty broken down, and I would mix this into whatever potting soil or whatever you're using in your garden, to actually, you're creating like actually a lot of diversity in size and shape of the material in the soil too, which is helpful for plants to grow. And then it will continue to break down as the plants are growing.
We break up into groups.
Yeah, it's break into groups.
So who wants to sift?
Yeah! All right, who's down to mix?
Just wanted to show y'all, but we're not gonna touch this today. We can add it to the first bin or even the second bin, but just wanted to show you how GFE has a connection. They know a guy who has a big a lot of pigeons taking stairs. Do we know if coffee grounds are nitrogen or carbon?
Nitrogen.
Yeah.
Keeps things nice and green.
And number 2.
And can coffee filters go in there if you do pour over? Can you toss the filter in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I brought one too, just to do it. You could see some of the little papers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And this is the finished compost. This is what we're gonna sift the third bin into this.
Nice.
It's already been set up, which is awesome. And one last thing is the mulch that Kayla and others we were talking about. This is the mulch that we just end up. It's woody parts. They're too large to break up, or like too large to break down, or it just takes too long. This is not going to break down anytime soon, so it's just going to take a while, and we just use it for mulch for our beds, or just even here, right here. So
Our whole here.
These are browns because it's mostly yard waste. And you can see if you look a little bit further down here, you can see our moisture.
I see.
It's a little bit wet.
So it's got to be pretty wet.
Yeah,
And
so
our party guests are in there.
yeah, exactly. Someone I think recently, I don't manage the system, but someone in the garden recently added some of these browns on top, I think probably to dry it out because it is a little bit wet.
It's kind of moist in there.
Yeah. But then with this system, the compost kind of sifts down to the bottom. And ideally, you open this door and can just kind of scoop it out. But I opened it earlier and a bunch of browns fell out. So I don't want to open it again. But that's how the system should work. In this one, I would probably just scoop it out with my hands. You can see like down here is a little bit more of the good stuff. And when we work with the 3-bin system, we're gonna do some sifting, so you could also sift this. So whoever is comfortable or interested, come stick your hands in and check it out.
How do you keep the mice out?
Yeah, that's a good question.
of this bin, you can have it and keep it indoors. And they're built in a way where it's well aerated, and you can see the holes here. What's important is that you gotta have a temperature of like 60 to 70 degrees. They don't like it too cold, they don't like it too hot. And you're gonna think of the red wigglers as like just your population that you're gonna have to feed every day, or like every other day. You're gonna have to take care of them, make sure that they're doing okay. So I'm gonna open this bin. It comes in a 3-bin system, but it's not always necessary. It can just be 1 bin. But what we have here is newspaper and cardboard scraps that we just kind of shred, that garden coordinator did here. And we can see like some bits and pieces of food scraps. And the red wigglers, let's see where they are. So I don't see them, they're hiding. So sometimes when there's so much things going on, like they just tend to hide, but okay, let's see. There is one. There's a ton if you want to get closer and see.
Oh, there they go. Looks like my soil at home.
Oh, they're babies.
Yeah.
So this is what we have right here. These are the red wigglers. So this one's a really tall one, actually. It's super cool. But one thing we got to do is we got to cut the vegetable scraps really tiny, because they're going to eat this, right? And they're going to digest it, and it's going to take them a while if it's something as big as like this apple, right? And does anyone know what happens after they eat it?
They poop it out and make worm composting. It's like the richest. That's what I use for my garden, to try to get like really rich worm
Yeah, exactly.
casting.
Yeah. and I'm gonna show you what they end up producing. But
It's like black gold is what I call
that's
it.
exactly what it's referred to. Yeah. One thing that's really cool is that they have an enzyme that has that they can just kind of, when they poop, it becomes this beautiful, nutrient-rich
That's what my
compost.
soil looks like at home.
What are those bugs?
There's just so many different like ants and bugs, but they're not gonna be necessarily bad for your soil. So they're actually gonna increase the diversity of your soil if you just add it as it is. I can't really identify what's in there, but there's usually like hot worms and all sorts of like fruit flies sometimes on top too. So
These
yeah.
are naturally sifting through this.
Yeah, I was gonna show you this. So this is where it goes.
Wow.
It goes from the bottom right there. So I don't want to set it down because you can see some of them are hanging out,
Yeah.
and I don't want to kill them. Just putting it down in the ground. So if someone can help and just lift this one, yeah. And so that's more ants and stuff. But someone had harvested the compost, like water that comes out. But that compost tea is really helpful for just watering plants.
Yeah.
So what's really cool about this warm compost bin is that it has 3 bins where one is for water that we can like just harvest and use for watering, and then we have that black gold, and then you could just keep adding food scraps into this whenever you have it. But one thing is that you don't want to overfeed them. Does anyone know why you don't want to overfeed them? Lots of flies, exactly. So if you want to put it down, Eli, thank you. So if you leave something like an apple core for too long, it's just gonna attract they're not gonna get around to eating it. It's gonna take a while for them to eat this gigantic apple core. I mean, it's not big for us, but for them, it's pretty big. So it's gonna attract bacteria and all sorts of things that you don't really want in your warm compost, and that's what makes it smelly. So if you keep it contained and you keep cutting things into tiny bits and pieces, will be perfect for the worms.
They can break down the compost bags.
Yeah. I think, this compost bag specifically, I actually don't know why this is here, but I
Okay.
think they will. Yeah,
Okay.
I think they should be able to. The things that they don't really want is, we talked about, is meat. Does anyone know anything else that we shouldn't feed into this? Rice is actually good for them. Yeah. It just has to be, bread. The rice has to be plain. They don't like spicy food. They don't like acidic food. And they also don't necessarily like to eat anything that's high in acidity, like tomatoes. So they're very picky, and they're on a vegan diet. So you just have to be very careful what you feed them.
And do you keep this moist, or is it like the humidity from the top? Like, how does that whole thing work?
Yeah.
How do you start the worm system?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the bottom, you actually start with like peat moss or coconut fiber. Or if you don't have either of that, you could just start with like cardboard, like just into tiny pieces first, and then to the bottom layer, and then you add food scraps, and then you should add some dirt just for grit for the worms, and then you just add the worms. Does anyone know where to get worms? Does anyone have experience getting worms?
I collected them when it rained, and then they just had babies, I think.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. So you could buy them from like a hardware store or like any sort of nursery, but sometimes, if someone or in a garden that has a lot of worms, they tend to like repopulate. So you could just grab a tiny bit and then just add it to your bin, and over a course of a couple weeks, or depending on how much you feed them, they'll just regrow and repopulate and increase in population.
This
So
is nice.
yeah.
I think I might go with the worm system.
Yeah.
Why is it red wiggler? Like, what about them specifically?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a specific enzyme that they have that once they eat and they poop, it's really good. I'm forgetting the name of the enzyme, but it has to do with their scientific thing that I'm not really familiar with. So, yeah.
Is this like covering? Is that helpful?
Yeah.
For the
So
apple core, the flies. And
yeah, definitely. So this is good for sometimes when it gets super wet, you want to keep it for moisture, but also it's good for covering. As you can see, you didn't see, but the group before you, when I opened that, you could see so many red wigglers, but now they're hiding. They don't really like to be out in the open. they like to just, you know, eat and then just kind of go about their business.
Okay, welcome to the 3-bin system. I guess I'll open this one just because it looks awkward now. But it's empty. Why do we think it might be empty?
You took everything out.
Took the good stuff out.
If you want to. It was just moved.
Any observations on like what is going on? Like what's in the first bin?
Very fresh.
Yeah, it's very green.
This is the final product.
This looks pretty. I don't know if it's oil yet.
Lots of wood.
Yeah, definitely go in there and smell it.
How does it smell?
It smells like dirt.
Like dirt.
As it should.
I mean, there should be more words to describe what it smells like, but dirt is the first one that comes to mind.
So the 3-bin system, just to orient us, we have our greens and like new stuff is going in there. That's breaking down over time. Eventually that's moving to our middle system. That's where the composting is really happening. So once that breaks down, we can actually move it to our 3rd bin, which is more of a storage bin. It's going to continue breaking down over time. And then we're going to move it into one of these bins over here after we sift it, which we're going to do in a bit. So our middle bin is empty. Our middle bin is completely empty because it's been moved to this 3rd bin. So it's a progressional approach to composting. So all the compost systems we just talked about, the 3-bin system is just on a larger scale with 3 different stages.
This is all yard waste. No food.
There, I see some tarred,
I see, yeah.
but it is mostly food. It's mostly yard waste, not food.
Okay.
In the 3-bin system too, when you're moving it from one to the other, is kind of again how you're introducing some of that airflow and oxygen by turning it and flipping it.
Do you still store within the bin or just?
I think they do still stir within the bins or just as you move it was the question. And I think it's again the kind of like noticing the compost and how it looks and feels. But if it is feeling like particularly dry, you might add some moisture and turn it.
How long does each stage take usually?
Good question. It depends. The question was how long does each stage take? And it depends totally on the process. I believe GFV, it's like every month or so they're able to harvest from the 3rd bin because it's ready to go.
So from the 3rd bin, you say you go into those, and these are not the tumbling kind. These are...
No, that's just storage actually. So we're gonna sift this today. So this is like storage as well. It's like the post-composted from the middle here. It's still like doing a little bit of composting, but not so much. So we're gonna sift it and put it into those storage containers where they'll use it out in the garden.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 of them. They just get so much compost, right? That we need somewhere else to store it.
When do you move from 1st to 2nd? Like, how do you determine when it's ready?
So once everything looks pretty mixed together and starting to break down, we're not seeing as much like bright green material.
So once, yeah. Exactly, yeah. So we're gonna leave this.
How do we feel? You think we need more? Or probably, I think this is mulchish.
Yeah, we can maybe transfer some mulch over.
This top over,
Take a
huh?
while for it to heat up. So that's why you don't add anything after some of the setting. And then you can add the 3rd one where it's ready to harvest. Yeah.
Motivating you to do garden
This is the final product here.
This is so rich.
The gold.
Amazing. So what are you leaning towards for your composting style?
I mean, I have the single bin kind of like that,
Uh-huh.
but I have so many critters.
So you think about the worm bin?
Yeah, I maybe a worm bin for food scraps, and then something like this for, or maybe just something to get like.
Do you have a lot of
get it away
space?
from a good amount.
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
It's very steep, but it's like there's a fair amount.
You're
of
gonna make
space,
it work.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, the previous owner of our house did a lot, like making terraces and stuff. he used to have a great garden, but it's been 20 years since he he got old and then he sold the house, and like those past 10 or 15 years he didn't keep it up, right?
Those little bugs are okay?
Yeah, they're totally fine for the soil. They actually help with like soil ecology and the biodiversity of soil. They're not going to necessarily eat plants or crops.
Really cool, okay?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know. It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
It really is.
It was like, ooh, big reveal.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Right? Yeah.
Did you hear us all? We were like, oh.
I know. I know.
Look at that.
Those roly poly.
I know. They're
supposed to smell like.
they're just about everywhere.
Feel free to come.
Okay, guys. I did it. It was great. It's cold. Got my hood on. So this is an Alzheimer's, younger onset, early onset Alzheimer's awareness channel. And I always like to pay attention to the signs and, you know, things that the universe is sending to us. So don't know if I mentioned it before, but I got this tattoo in honor of my mama, just to show her that, you know, I am supporting her the best way I can. Is purple ribbon is Alzheimer's awareness, and the flowers are forget-me-nots. One for myself and one for each of my sisters. So as we were doing the garden tour, I noticed they have these little flowers everywhere. And would you look at that? These are forget-me-nots. So I'm gonna take these home, put them in some water, hope they survive a little bit, or even take them to my mom, depending on how long they survive before I can get back to her. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Oh, they smell good. I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm in San Francisco right now, so I'm gonna head over to the beach, reflect, and honey, I'm about to go cry my eyes out because I had a good time. I'm grateful. I feel really good. Sun's coming out. So that's all for now. Till next time. Peace out.
Since in the beginning, her spirit drifting far away. I kept asking what is happening, why can't I reach you today? Then came the truth that changed our world, a road I never planned.